Hello and welcome to Firstpost Spotlight, where we bring you stories that matter to you from all across the world. From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, we shed light on issues that shape our world. I'm Alison Grange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin with the top headlines. Let's take a look at our top headlines. Now, Poland summons Russia's top envoy for a meeting, reports Russian media. This comes after Warsaw downed several drones violating its airspace. President Emmanuel Macron's loyalist Sébastien Lecornu takes charge as the new Prime Minister of France amid massive anti-government protests in the country. Iran signs a deal with the UN nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, for allowing it to inspect the sites hit during Israeli attacks in June. Sri Lankan Parliament votes to evict former President Mahinda Rajapaksa from a state-owned mansion. Now, the move is a part of the austerity measures taken by the country. And Hong Kong lawmakers reject a government bill that would have granted limited rights to same-sex couples registered abroad. Hello and welcome. We begin with the latest from the turmoil-hit Himalayan nation of Nepal. The Nepalese army has taken charge after protests led by Gen Z turned violent and toppled Prime Minister KP Sharma Ali's government. The army says it will remain in control to ensure calm in the country until a new government is in place. The army has warned, saying that any more incidents of vandalism, looting or attacks will lead to tough action. The Nepalese chief of army staff has appealed to protesters to engage in talks to find a peaceful solution. He also warned the mob, saying that some groups are taking undue advantage and resorting to attacks and looting in the name of the movement. The army has arrested 27 people on suspicion of involvement in looting, arson and vandalism. Authorities said 31 firearms were seized from the suspects, including 23 in Kathmandu and 8 in Pokhara. For now, the former Chief Justice, Sushila Karki, has been chosen as the interim leader, and reports say that the decision was taken after holding talks with youth leaders. A nationwide curfew stays in place after chilling images of death, destruction and arson came flooding in from the capital of Kathmandu on Tuesday. A video showed a violent mob assaulting five-time Nepalese Prime Minister Shah Bahadur Durba and his wife. The two were assaulted by protesters and later found bleeding in a field, after which they were rescued by the army. The residences of political leaders, cabinet ministers and official buildings, including Parliament, were set ablaze by the angry youth. Even offices of political parties and police posts were attacked and set on fire. Now, the former Nepal Prime Minister Jalananth Kanal's wife died after their house was set on fire by protesters in Kathmandu. Now, she was rushed to a hospital but succumbed to her burn injuries. The Finance Minister, Bishnu Prasad Paudel, was chased in the streets with a massive crowd running behind him. He was kicked and brutally thrashed by the mob. The situation also remained tense at the India-Nepal border, where some minor incidents of violence were reported. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi appealed for peace and said the violence in the country was hair-rending. Now, for 2 days, Nepal witnessed horrific violence as millions descended onto the streets to protest against the government's social media ban. On Monday, when the protest banned, the KP Sharma Ali government responded with an iron fist and launched a crackdown. At least 19 people were killed and around 400 were injured. This led to more outrage and bigger protests in Kathmandu and other cities. But this was only a tipping point. For years now, the people of Nepal have been frustrated with corruption scandals, elitism and nepotism by its political leaders. The youth has also been agitated over high unemployment rates, which is one of the highest in South Asia. All of this while children of powerful political figures filled up the top government posts, including ministries and embassies, and also flaunted luxury lifestyles abroad. All of this pushed anger among the youth to a boiling point, and it spilled over in the last 2 days. With Prime Minister Ali out, the spotlight is now on Gen Z-approved Balendra Shah, who is Kathmandu's young mayor. Online campaigns by the youth are promoting him as the next leader. The rapper-turned-politician appealed to protesters to exercise restraint, noting that the demand for the Prime Minister's resignation had already been met. Will Balendra Shah chart the future political course of turmoil-ridden Nepal, or does the army have other plans? After a deadly storm, will peace and stability return to Nepal? And we are moving on to our next story now, shifting focus to West Asia, where tensions are simmering over Israel's expanding military action in the region. In the latest, Israel launched airstrikes to target Hamas leadership in Qatar. Now, the Israeli attack killed 6 people and hit buildings in Doha. Smoke could be seen billowing into the city's sky in the aftermath of the attack. Qatar said the strikes targeted the homes of several Hamas members residing in the country. Qatar, which had been mediating ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas, has condemned the Israeli military action as cowardly and claimed that it violated international law.
The Israeli attack that took place today on Qatari soil, we cannot call it anything other than state terrorism practiced by someone like Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. In the context of these systematic policies and his ongoing attempts that have destabilized regional security and stability, is simply a clear message to the region as a whole. And this message says that there is a rogue player in this region and ongoing political recklessness that has encroached upon the sovereignty of states.
Meanwhile, Hamas said that the attack killed 3 bodyguards and negotiator Khalil al-Hayya's aide and son. The Iran-backed group said that Israel failed to kill people involved in negotiations. However, the attack killed a Qatari security official, leaving others injured.
Despite this, we say that the leadership of the movement Hamas, praise be to God, survived this cowardly attempt, and that the leadership of the movement is now in great good health. Thanks to God Almighty, and God Almighty responded to the plot of these criminals. God responded to Netanyahu's plot and this criminal gang. And we say again that the leadership is fine.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he had authorized the strikes in Doha and that it was in response to the October 7th, 2023 attack by Hamas.
I convened the heads of Israel's security organizations and authorized a surgical precision strike on the terrorist chiefs of Hamas. These are the same terrorist chiefs who planned, launched, and celebrated the horrific massacres of October 7th. At the beginning of the war, I promised that Israel would reach those who perpetrated this horror. And today, Israel and I have kept that promise.
Qatari Prime Minister Al Thani said that the Israeli action won't deter it from its mediation bid. He added that Qatar was not warned about the Israeli attack.
The attack was a 100% treacherous act. It was not known until the moment it occurred. The attack happened at 3:46 p.m. The first call we had from an American official was at 3:56 p.m., which is 10 minutes after the attack.
The White House said that U.S. President Donald Trump did not agree with Israel's decision and had his envoy notify Qatar of the impending Israeli attack. The White House said that the U.S. president spoke with the Israeli and Qatari leaders after the strikes. Qatar is a key security partner of the U.S. It hosts Al-Udeid Air Base, which is the largest U.S. military facility in West Asia.
I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled about it. I don't have to do that. I'm not thrilled about the whole situation. It's not a good situation. But I will say this, we want the hostages back, but we are not thrilled about the way that went down today. I'm never surprised by anything, especially when it comes to the Middle East. I'll be giving a full statement tomorrow, but I would tell you this, I was very unhappy about it, very unhappy about every aspect, and we got to get the hostages back. But I was very unhappy about the way that went down.
After the strikes drew rare rebuke from Trump, Israeli envoy to the UN, Danny Danon, justified the Doha attacks. He said that Israel doesn't always act in the interests of the US and that Israel makes its own decisions and only informs the US. Now, Israel has carried out strikes in Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and Palestinian territories. But it is the first time Israeli forces have struck a West-backed Gulf state. And the strikes on Qatar have received condemnation from various countries, including the UK, Egypt, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. And shifting focus to the Philippines, in a setback to the country's defense forces, Manila has halted its potential purchase of F-16 fighter jets from the US owing to budget constraints. The halt in planned purchases was announced by Filipino envoy to the US, Jose Manuel Romualdez. Now, he quoted the country's defense minister and added that there were other priorities for the armed forces ahead of such a big-ticket item. The Filipino envoy said that the upcoming budget deliberations would decide the allotted amount for the modernization program. This, as the U.S. State Department had approved the potential sale of F-16 fighter jets to the Philippines earlier this year. The deal was valued at around $5.6 billion. It was seen as a significant capability boost for the Philippine Air Force. Manila is a strategic ally of Washington. The U.S. State Department said that this proposed sale will help to improve the security of its strategic partner, which is an important force for political stability in Southeast Asia. The potential deal with the U.S. came amid rising tensions between Philippines and China. Beijing claims sovereignty over most of the South China Sea, and the claims overlap with those of the Philippines. The two nations have been at loggerheads over growing tensions in the disputed waters. This has led to several encounters between the coast guards of the two countries. Last month, Now, this has led to several encounters between the coast guards of the two countries. Last month, two Chinese boats collided while pursuing a Filipino vessel. Manila claimed that a Chinese fighter had intercepted its plane over disputed waters, and Manila has repeatedly accused Beijing of conducting dangerous maneuvers around its vessels near the Scarborough Shoal. Now, amid simmering tensions in the region, the Philippines has stepped up military modernization. It is prioritizing naval and air defense assets, and this would boost its capability in the South China Sea. A $703 million deal with South Korea for FA-50 fighter jets aligns with the Philippines' strategy. However, a budget limitation could pull back Manila's plans. It may affect the country's bid to strengthen its defenses. Will the Filipino leadership be able to steer through these funding issues? Now that remains to be seen. And Apple has dropped its latest lineup. The iPhone 17 series is here, and the star of the show, the brand new iPhone Air. Apple's CEO Tim Cook called the new launch a game changer, and for good reason.
iPhone Air is a total game changer. It's designed for customers who want pro performance in an unbelievably thin and light design.
The iPhone Air is Apple's thinnest iPhone ever. It's just 5.6 millimeters at its thinnest point. It has a titanium frame, ceramic shield on both sides, and a new internal layout to make it all possible. The trade-off? A single 48-megapixel rear camera. But Apple promises durability, all-day battery, and the same powerful A19 Pro chip that runs the Pro models. Now, this device effectively replaces the Plus version. It also brings some smart features, simultaneous video recording from front and back cameras, a wide front camera, and 8 gigabytes of RAM. The iPhone Air goes head-to-head with Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge, and analysts say that it could be Apple's stepping stone toward foldables.
Make no mistake about it, with Apple now launching a very slim iPhone model, this eventually opens up the path towards a foldable device. But it's doing what it does best. It's a proven model, and it's a stepping stone to what may come.
Well, you know, as expected, the excitement was around the iPhone Air, but what I think wasn't as expected was how much capabilities they managed to squeeze into the device. It looks pretty impressive. I mean, you know, we'll have to wait for the final tests, but, you know, cramming all that custom silicon of theirs in there, new design, gives you a device that I think a lot of people are going to be, you know, pretty attracted to. I mean,
however, during the presentation, which was considerably shorter than usual, at just an hour and 15 minutes, there was one notable buzzword missing from a good chunk of the fanfare: AI. The new iPhones are also expected to hit the markets without major upgrades to its voice assistant Siri. Now, Apple has also pushed off the launch of its virtual assistant to next year. However, what's different this year is that the base model, or the iPhone 17, has made a strong case. It now comes with several Pro features, a brighter display, and the new A19 chip built on 3-nanometer technology. It even matches the Pro size at 6.3 inches and now starts at 256 gigabytes of storage. The Pro lineup, as anticipated, features a camera bump, and the iPhone 17 Pro comes with a complete redesign with forged aluminium unibody and Apple's first vapor chamber thermal system that delivers 40% better sustained performance than the iPhone 16 Pro. It is also lighter than the previous titanium model. Now, all of the iPhone models this year come in new colors: silver, cosmic orange, and deep blue. Orange is bold and the newest addition to the iPhone's previous bland color lineups. And yes, no more product red this year. Analysts say that the company effectively held prices steady on these updated models. iPhone 17 is priced at $799 in the US, And while the iPhone 17A will cost you $999, you will pay $1,099 for the iPhone 17 Pro model and $1,199 for the Pro Max. In India, prices start at 82,900 rupees for the iPhone 17. The Air costs 119,900 rupees, the Pro 134,900 rupees, and the Pro Max 149,900 rupees. Apple's event comes amid a global trade reordering sparked by US President Donald Trump's policies. And here's where it gets interesting for India. Every iPhone 17 model, including the Pro models, are being made in India from day one. Apple has shifted production to 5 factories across the country, and the sale of these new models will go live on the 19th of September. This is Apple betting big on its next decade. Apple is reshaping its entire playbook. Now, what remains to be seen is whether this bet pays off, and if Apple can still set the rules of the game in a world where rivals are moving faster, cheaper, and bolder. And that's all we have on the show for today. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.